Welcome, everyone, to the Best of Markham Podcast, brought to you by me, Igor Klibanov from FitnessSolutionsPlus.ca, your personal trainers for chronic conditions. Here with me today is Dr. Leigh Arseneau. Leigh, thank you so much for being here. Tell us a bit about yourself.
My pleasure. I'm really excited to share and hear a little bit more about your journey. But I'm a naturopathic doctor by training. I have specific expertise in the realm of functional medicine. So a lot of people come to see us for more complex, chronic, multi-system problems. I've had the privilege of owning and operating a few clinics, and I'm grateful with a really incredible team of MDs, NDs, PhDs, dietitians, psychotherapists, and everybody sort of works under the realm of the functional medicine lens.
That's a very robust practice. You don't see a lot of PhDs on staff.
No, I think the reason why people tend to find us is I think the uniqueness of our team, the skill set, and how we sort of mutually coexist, and how we all work under that, a lens that helps us understand everyone has their expertise, whether it's a hormone doctor or a gut doctor, but we're all seeing it through a similar lens, and it's one of mutual respect. So we all get to collaborate and solve a lot of really difficult to treat health problems. And interestingly enough, we've just added another partnership where we're working with a group of really innovative biological dentists. So now we have dentists playing a role in some of these cases, a lot of these cases as well. So it's really great, and really inspiring to see all these health providers from different angles coexist and for the mutual benefit of the patient. So it's nice.
Yeah, and I'm sure the patients appreciate it because I often see clients who will see naturopathic doctors as well as MDs, as well as specialists and dentists, etc. And there's no like one central authority that congregates everything, and often they get conflicting advice from their MD, their ND, their massage therapist, their physiotherapist, their chiropractor, and there's nothing to put it together. And they're so confused. So it's nice to have all the advice going in the same direction in one place.
And I think people recognize that, and I think they come to us usually with a lot of data, and we tend to synthesize that into one understanding on what some of the underlying drivers are, how these, what look like mutually exclusive events or diagnosable illnesses, how they all connect. So I'm essentially like a systems guy, and my job is to connect the dots and help people understand what's really driving it and what are the effects thereof. And so, people come to us with like layers and layers of data trying to figure out, you might have some, lab testing done by their ND, lab testing done by their MD. But because we've seen so much of this, we're able to usually put it all together for them and create that more robust, more targeted strategy.
Yeah, the fantastic system. Now, how'd you get into naturopathic medicine in the first place?
Good question. No one's asking that for a while. I think we all have our journey, and I think that we're all blessed with skills. And I think that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And I think I have a unique skill set and a unique way to serve people, just like you do, right? I think we all have these God-given talents. And I really feel that naturopathic medicine was able to help one of my family members quite a bit. And then I basically fine-tune that a little bit further into more of a merger of conventional standard medicine with more integrative type ideas into one lens or one model. So I have the privilege of lecturing to a lot of MDs. I'm doing another big lecture in October and helping them understand that this isn't this foreign, and these can coexist in a mutually beneficial model where the patient's center and forefront and the patient's needs are met cohesively. And so, we've sort of started with naturopathic medical training. I have a background in biochemistry. And then over time, that elaborated quite quickly into the functional medicine lens. And then through my journey, I've just had the amazing privilege of meeting really forward-thinking, really innovative docs. And so one of those first meetings was with Dr. Ko, who's, as you know, an integrative physiatrist. He's a specialist in Markham. he's been a mentor to me for a number of years. So I was lecturing at the same time he was lecturing. So we started lecturing together. And so it's a nice little merger. And then from there, I met other colleagues like Dr. Turek at my Ajax Center,
Hmm.
who's an integrative MD, who's now a wealth of knowledge in functional medicine, started in family practice, moved into hormones, and now is in functional medicine. So through the years, I've had this amazing experience at connecting with similarly minded individuals, probably like you. I think we'd align quite nicely, and growing that network to be able to serve people on levels that they probably haven't seen before. And I think that's a
Yeah.
big value that we offer at the clinic. And so
Yeah.
it's been a real journey from when I graduated to now. And the type of patients that we're seeing is quite different, but it's still really intellectually stimulating. And we see a lot of people who've struggled get a lot better.
Yeah, yeah, that's one of the most rewarding parts of this job, especially in healthcare. People struggle, they come to a bunch of like they bounce around from different practitioner to practitioner until they find yours and you solve it for them.
And yeah, often we do. And usually they've done well. A lot of them kind of try and orchestrate this journey on their own, with Google and ChatGPT and all of
Yeah.
those different options to sort of help. And a lot of times they've seen NDs, which have helped them along their journey as well. But usually we're able to sort of bring that into a full picture that often involves another level of improvement that they just kind of had. So they kind of coexist in this level, and then all of a sudden they get more strategic, more targeted, and then they usually sort of go up from there.
Yeah, yeah. Now, obviously, you didn't just become a naturopathic doctor, work for a clinic, etc. You created your own clinic and now four clinics. So you're not just an ND, you're also an entrepreneur. So what do you like most about entrepreneurship?
That's a great question. It's exciting. It's extremely rewarding. I come from a family where there was definitely some of that, not a lot. My brother actually has probably more entrepreneurial skills than I do. I just think I'm really blessed with certain circumstances and experience that have driven the clinics forward. And I really enjoy working with for myself, obviously working as part of a complete team, but I
Mhm.
love the idea that we can innovate and adapt to the circumstances, adapt to the concerns that people have, and consistently improve based on the patient feedback, the team's feedback, and guide and lead a really remarkable team through this journey. As AI comes out, as these new innovations come out, we have to adapt and pivot so we can do better and sort of be on that edge for patients. And I think entrepreneurship helps me with that goal and that purpose in mind. So the people push me, whether it's the patients or the team. I try and lead by raising others,
Mhm.
and I like being part of a team where everybody has a voice. And when patients give us feedback, we do our best to listen, and we do our best to incorporate new and innovative ideas to be able to drive better treatment, better medicine, better healthcare at the centers. So I like the openness of it. I like the adventure part of it. It can be a bit stressful. As you know, Igor, healthcare is struggling and there's a lot of red tape and a lot of nuances that can be extremely stressful
Yeah.
and extremely difficult where you know what the patient needs and they're not really getting that. And I think healthcare, just meeting with a group recently about government affairs, I know healthcare is going to have some real pivots to have to make in the next 5 years,
Yeah.
or we're going to see more struggles. So I don't know what those pivots are going to be. I think I know what they should be, but I think that the next 5 years is going to be really interesting. And I'm excited to see how the next few years develop and how we'll be able to serve people even better.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting to hear my different guests on this podcast what they do they like in about entrepreneurship, why did they become entrepreneurs, etc. I think you're probably my 68th guest. And
Wow.
a lot of my guests say I became an entrepreneur because I wanted to the freedom to practice the way I wanted to practice. Um, Before I was in a rigid system and I had to do it this way, but I saw a better way, but I wasn't allowed to do it because it was not that way, but it was more effective. So I
If I
started, yeah,
if I'm going to be completely sincere on that comment, um, I have a bit of a rebellious tendency.
that a lot of entrepreneurs do.
And I don't like people telling me what to do. I'm not very good with that. I've always
Yeah,
had a problem with authority,
yeah,
even though I like to think I'm like a rule follower most of the time, but I think entrepreneurship allows me that little bit of ability to direct things. Even though we're open to suggestion, we're not
yeah,
necessarily taking instructions.
yeah.
We get to lead the ship in a way that empowers the people around us.
Yeah, yeah, no, I totally. I mean, like a lot of entrepreneurs have that rebellious streak. Me, I'm
Oh,
very
wow.
honest about it. I'm very much a rule follower. I'm a great employee. However, I had one boss I really, really didn't like, and that was my whole motivation of becoming an entrepreneur. I wanted to make, not huge amounts of money, but I wanted to make decent enough money. And I didn't think I'd be making what I make now.
Right.
Um, but the main motivation is just do things the way I want to do them, and I don't want that boss. And I worked, I've been an entrepreneur so far 16 years, personal trainer for 20.
Wow.
So
Good
far,
for
so
you.
good. Yeah, thank you, thank you.
Yeah. And
Now,
I think when you put your moral compass and you put your skills to the greater good use for others, and I think when we serve others with our skills, the compensation comes as a byproduct.
yeah, exactly. Like it was never my goal. It's nice that it's happening, but it was
Yeah.
never my goal. Yeah, it's
Yeah. And I just think that, there's so many options out there and there's such a sea of confusion. But if you can just be open, direct, compassionate, because people, they're struggling and it's stressful going through this.
yeah,
So I really think that alongside our remarkable team is, I think, our moral compass and our ability to meet people where they're at and be compassionate about, okay, they can't make all these changes and maybe they're making choices that aren't consistent with their health, but that's okay. We're going to guide them to gently improve through micro change
yep,
and help them along that journey. And we've got an amazing staff that really is really supportive around that, because we struggle and we're humans and we have emotions and we don't necessarily make
yep,
the best decisions for our health,
yep,
but we don't need to be critical. Some people feel shamed or criticized or judged.
yeah,
And that's not conducive to health span or optimizing or, supportive journey. So I think having that moral compass, being a faith related guy, is really a big part of the success of the centers.
yeah, yeah. It's about balancing of course, a business wants to make money, but in healthcare, it's almost like a lot of staff who are not entrepreneurs, almost they like that's not a strong motivator.
Right.
Their strongest motivator is the benefit of the patient, which ironically is actually more conducive to make money than being more money driven.
You got it.
It's a very interesting paradox. Now you have four clinics. That doesn't happen by accident. So what do you do for marketing? How do you get new clients?
Good question. I think part of that, I think, has been the lectures. So we've published data, case studies, research papers, and I think that gets the attention of other health providers.
Hmm.
Lecturing, for a couple of hundred family doctors, uh, they tend to get a more, I don't want to say accurate, but a more thorough understanding of what we do. Because I think there's a lot of misconstrued
Oh yeah.
ideas and confusion.
Yes.
And when you explain to them the model and how you use the emerging research in a personalized way, and now
Mhm.
you explain the level of research, I don't think most of them are aware. So I'd say a big part of our referral sources come from the family doctors and specialists that we lecture to and with. I think we also get referrals, a lot of referrals from pharmacists.
Hmm.
We get referrals from other patients as
Right.
well. I think we're actually getting a lot of referrals from Google, but recently I'm getting specific referrals from AI.
Interesting.
So we notice, we track this. We have a company that helps us understand where people are coming from and what they're seeing of us. And I think we're actually getting a large majority from Google,
Yeah.
and from other search engines, not just Google. But AI seems to be a larger trend. And because we're not new,
Yeah.
and we've been doing this for a while, and we have a lot of patients that have done very well, and we encourage them to tell other people. We encourage them. We have that conversation. We're not uncomfortable about it. We tell them,
Yeah.
listen, you're doing really well. Consider talking to somebody who needs some assistance, or who's confused, or who would
Yeah.
normally not consider integrative medicine, and
Yeah.
tell them how well you're doing. And so it's a combination. I'd say a big portion of it is health providers, physiotherapists, massage therapists, personal trainers like yourself. When there are our thing is when people have tried a lot of stuff, and they're really complex, and they're really unwell, then send them to us,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah, exactly. Now, when you're doing your presentations to MDs, is this a presentation that you put on? Are you speaking at a conference where the conference organizer puts it on and they select speakers? How do you get those speaking engagements?
So conferences.
Okay, so
So I
established
just
conferences.
lectured. Yeah, I just lectured a few weeks ago for a primary care conference. It was for both Canadian and U.S. docs. I have the one coming up in, I think it's end of October, is a pain conference.
Mhm.
So they would be conferences that would reach out and ask me to be one of the lecturers. And so I used to do a lot of lectures where the actual team would organize them when
Mhm.
I was a little bit younger and a little bit keener, and I was doing them probably once or twice a month.
Yeah,
And then eventually we hit a threshold where I was just a little bit overwhelmed. So now I do a few a year,
got it.
and try and redirect some of that focus to my family, my
Right.
faith, my team. And just, yeah, because as you know, lectures take a lot of effort, a lot of work, and a lot of preparation.
Yeah.
So probably a few a year in total.
Yeah, makes sense. And you mentioned other big referral sources, pharmacists. How do they find out about you?
For example, what sometimes we're using prescriptions.
Yeah.
I actually have quite a few pharmacists as patients,
Yeah. Okay.
quite a few MDs as patients. But I think the pharmacists, probably speaking to patients about some of these maybe more unique prescriptions
Right.
that some of our MDs are writing, or some of the NDs that are using novel stuff, and then the patients get better, and then maybe they have a conversation, because sometimes pharmacists are a way to sort of bridge the gap, right? They're
Yeah.
there, they're available, they have these conversations with the patients. And I think a few years ago, I helped a few that owned some pharmacies, and they were really pleased with the results. So they kind of started telling everybody. And we've had collaborative pharmacies that we've worked with or discussed with, or even that I've lectured for, that are more integratively minded.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think there's more and more of that as time progresses. These barriers that we used to have, where there was sort of alternative medicine on this side and standard
Yeah.
conventional medicine on this side, those bridges are happening. Those walls are breaking down, and I think that these new models, where the patient is at the center and the team is around them, is where
Yeah.
things are going, because it works better, and you need more tools to understand how these processes develop, how to understand the underlying mechanisms, and how to drive health span up, not
Yeah.
just sort of blow away the smoke as the fire persists.
Yeah, totally. I remember walking into pharmacies, 20 plus years ago. The only thing you would see was medications. Now you see everything. You see statins and you see glucosamine and chondroitin. right? You see supplements together with medications.
Yeah.
Yeah. So very interesting how it's evolved and how it's evolving. And I'm always interested in talking to entrepreneurs in different fields from mine about what's successful in their marketing, because my best marketing strategies all come from outside of my field. If you were to ask
Comes from what? Sorry.
from industries outside of my own.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
because if you ask the average personal trainer, where do you get your clients from? They'll say two things. One, they'll say referrals, and two, they'll say social media. And when you dig deeper, you ask them, is there anything deliberate you do to generate referrals? The answer is usually no, I just do a good job. In other words, in my brain, that means okay, there's no strategy there. You're hoping for somebody to do something. Um, the other source they say is social media. And I say, okay, so let's break it down. How many clients do you get through social media? The answer almost always is close to zero. Um, right? And in which case I think, well, that if it's not getting clients, that's not marketing, that's entertainment. It's entertaining
Right.
you, it's entertaining your followers.
Very
But
wise.
right, the most important thing is not likes, followers, and shares. The most important thing is the bank account. And
And yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I'm gonna jump in there, and I wholeheartedly agree. And I think what integrative docs don't realize is that, to your point, you need an active strategy. This isn't a passive thing where you just let it develop. Like,
yeah,
I pounded the pavement in the lectures. We wrote the articles. We specifically have conversations with patients about how they're doing and who else could benefit. We send out and we talk to health providers locally. We have packages that help them understand functional medicine. We have active companies that help with SEO.
yeah,
We have all of these layered strategies. But I will tell you, to your point, Igor, I I've done this purposefully because of my training in leadership and personal growth. We have limited, if not any, social media
yeah,
uh, presence. In
yeah,
fact, I've never personally opened social media. I've looked at the studies on what they do to the brain, and it's not something that I want to fill my brain with or occupy my time with. And
yeah,
that's just a personal decision. But we actually have never, quote unquote, actively pursued social media related marketing or advertising or otherwise. Even though at one point we probably should or have to, the
yeah.
team might do that to some level, but I have limited, if not any, engagement in social media, and I do
Yeah.
that on purpose.
And for a lot of businesses, that's the way to go. Their business grows when they stop using social media. I haven't posted on Instagram in about 3 years, and my business is better than ever.
Wow.
Right. So, like I said, my best strategies can come from outside of mine. Like the four big things that drive clients for me in no particular order is public speaking, very similar to you. Pre-COVID, I was doing 45 to 50 speaking engagements per year. Um,
Wow.
Nowadays, it's a lot like it's fewer speaking engagements, but more clients from the speaking engagements.
Right.
Um, so public speaking, email marketing, writing books. That's why I've written 22 so far.
You've
And
written 22 books?
yeah, yeah, 23rd on the way in a couple of months. And believe it or not, number four, door-to-door sales.
Number four, what?
Believe it or not, door-to-door sales.
Wow.
Yeah. So again, these are all strategies from outside of my industry. Personal trainers don't do this stuff, and that's why it's so effective in when I do it. I borrow from other industries. So that's why I like talking to other entrepreneurs about what do they do for marketing. Could I use something from a different industry that will work in mine? For example, who does door-to-door sales? Realtors and Jehovah's Witnesses and politicians. Not personal trainers. And if a personal trainer goes to a door and says some interesting stuff, we're way more likely to convert because they don't see personal trainers doing this every day. When I'm doing a presentation, this is not something like I got that strategy from the whole world of get rich in real estate. Um, Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Of course, I've read it.
There you go. In the real estate world, this is a big thing. This is their strategy of getting new clients, new people to their paid seminars. And I thought, why can't I do that in personal training? Let me do that in personal training. So that's what public speaking is and has been so profitable. But yeah, it's always interesting to hear what other entrepreneurs are doing in terms of marketing, what's effective, what's not effective.
Yeah.
Um,
It's amazing.
Speaking of what's not effective, what obstacles have you encountered in your time as both an ND and an entrepreneur?
Obstacles that soak up time.
Either time, money, logistics, staff, anything that's you would consider to be an obstacle.
Oh gosh, how much time do you have?
Whatever you want to talk about.
Yeah, I'd say there's daily daily challenges.
Mhm.
I also believe in the concept of ohms. Obstacles make me stronger. I
Yeah,
also believe in the upside of stress. I've done a lot of philosophical and scientific training on personal growth and mindset, mental toughness, and these sort of concepts. And I'd love to chat about that on the side when we have a second,
sure.
because there's some really good resources that I think would help people. But I would say, similarly to other industries, the challenges we have are twofold. Number one is finding good people and keeping them.
Yep.
Every entrepreneur across the board, and my brother's an entrepreneur, friends have a difficult time, whether it's contractors trying to find a good electrician, to lawyers trying to find a junior lawyer, trying to find good people that want to work and be rewarded for their work, who don't have a sense of entitlement, but truly have a humble approach to the job site and the workforce. We have been so lucky the last couple of years. We found our people and now they've stayed with us. But
Yeah.
there were several years where we had turnover and we had internal struggles. You know, employees not getting along, health providers not getting along with staff, and so managing people can be difficult, can be challenging. But I truly believe in sort of open communication. Tell me what your struggles are. Tell me what you're going through at home so we can understand this emotionally and sort of having those regular discussions. So that's definitely number one, is trying to make sure that everybody is happy, loves what they do, and is getting along.
Yeah.
Number two, and I'm sure you've seen this as well, is trying to match the expectation that people have when they walk through the door.
Yeah.
So I find that since the concept of reviews, everybody seems to think they have some level of entitlement. I don't want to say is the right word, but it's sometimes difficult for people to understand that health is a journey and it's not going to happen overnight.
Yeah.
And if sometimes we miss an appointment or we didn't get back to you, just give us a little bit of grace. We'll give you a little bit of grace and let's all try and get along.
Yeah.
But sometimes certain patients can really bring the staff down or can take a lot of time with, a number of questions. And we try to get to all of them, but sometimes we don't, like we get sometimes hundreds a day. Sometimes we're not able to get all of them. And then the next day we have some upset people,
Yeah.
but just give us a little bit of time. We're doing our best. We still have families. We want to
Yeah.
get to them at a certain time. And let's give each other a little bit of grace. And sort of that's my challenge and that's my message for the people that are working with clinics. And just if you have demands, just give them time to try and have those conversations, make realistic expectations, so that that journey can be beneficial for you and for the health provider serving you.
Yeah, I totally get it. I remember a few years ago, I was sitting in a like physiotherapy clinic, rehab clinic, and I was looking at their door. They had a sign that said, "All patients bring joy to this clinic. Some when they enter, and others when they leave."
I like
So,
that.
they
Yeah,
share your philosophy.
yeah.
Um, yeah,
It's tough.
I totally get your challenge with staffing. I remember when I first started hiring people about 15 years ago. And the first question is, okay, I have more clients than I can handle. How do I find somebody who has the same methodology or is willing to learn the same methodology as me? Um,
Yeah,
and at first it was just, Craigslist and Indeed. Eventually, it became more and more difficult to tap into higher and higher quality trainers. And I've went through different iterations of recruiting practices. I developed relationships with professors at different colleges that teach kinesiology, that stuff like that, and that worked at first. Nowadays, what I use is this solved all of my recruiting problems. I hire a recruiter. I ran out of sources to recruit from, and I said, "Listen, I don't like doing this, um, but let me hire somebody who actually likes doing this, who's good at it. They're going to find people, not just those who are looking for work. They're going to find people who are not even looking for work, but they're good at what they do. So headhunting, and that solves all my problems. They're doing the stuff they like. I'm doing the stuff that I like. Marketing and training people, and that basically solved everything for me.
And the one thing I've learned, yeah, I value your input. You sound like you're very knowledgeable on some of the topics that I'm not. And back to Rich Dad Poor Dad, and to my point about you, I know where my skills are.
Yeah,
I'm like a one, maybe two trick pony. That's pretty much it.
yeah,
But I also know where my weaknesses are.
yeah,
And when you understand your character, you understand your uniqueness, you can help find people that are really strong and solid in the areas that you're weak. And that's where a team comes into play, right?
yep,
And so being able to understand yourself as a leader and being able to understand your skills, your moral compass, it's
yeah,
easier to find other people that you attract that have similar mindset and also skills that offset. And so
yep,
over the years, we've sort of rounded out our team. And I realized how god awful I am at certain things and where they came in
hmm,
and built that up.
yep,
And I think as health providers, we have found some amazing, it's unbelievable blessings through this journey on how I met some of these MDs that have the privilege to work with, and they were looking and searching, and so whenever we do these lectures, we usually end up finding either a new team member or somebody that we collaborate with.
yeah, yeah.
So to your point, you have these discussions, you put it out there, you give a lecture on, where you can help. And then oftentimes I'll have these doctors come to me after and we'll meet up. And a lot of times we're similarly minded.
Yeah,
And yeah, and then they end up either we started working last year with a new Emerge doc, Dr.
yeah,
Benoit, who's been amazing. And yeah, I still don't know how we found him,
yeah,
but they're coming our way and we're growing.
yeah, yeah. I actually have very similar experiences. I've been speaking at a personal training conference for about 13, 14 years now, and very similar. Like a lot of my staff come from like people who were in my conference like 7, 8, 9 years ago. Then I post a job ad. They said, and obviously I don't know my audience, but they know me. So I'll post a job ad and they'll say, "Listen, I heard you speak at this conference 7, 8, 9 years ago. I like your approach. I'd like to apply for this job." And very often I end up hiring them because they're already familiar, they align, and
Yeah.
obviously during the interview I like them, and I'm like, "Okay, let's see if we can work together." So I
I
totally
like to
get that.
call that divine intervention.
Yeah, yeah. Interesting how it works.
It is.
Now you're a busy guy, you're an ND, you're an entrepreneur. So in the very little free time you have, how do you spend it?
I really enjoy spending time with my family. I have 3 young boys, and I am involved in coaching soccer and hockey for them. I like doing things with them, like teaching them how to cold plunge
Ooh,
and forest walks.
yeah.
And then I do work out regularly, probably not as much as you do, but I do work out about 3 times a week, and my wife's quite fit, so we often work out together. I like astronomy, so I like reading about astronomy. I like reading about the universe. I like reading my Bible and my faith.
Yeah.
And then in addition to that, and this is where the fun one is, about I'd say every month or two, we have what we call our monthly man cave meetings, which end up being every few months, where I have a group of really close friends, 5 or 6 of us, and we compete at something.
Yeah.
So whether it's pickleball, rock climbing, golf, frisbee golf,
Yeah.
cards, pool. So we get together, and I have a competitive spirit. So I like to win, but I like to lose sometimes too and be humbled. And so that's a nice little release for me
Yeah.
where I get to go out and compete at something. And yeah, it's also really fulfilling to coach the young ones.
Yeah, yeah. Very diverse interests. And I totally get it. I come from a martial arts background. What drove me to get better? Yes, I like to win, but I really, really hate to lose. And so when I would lose a tournament or a competition, it would
Yeah,
make me, it
yeah,
would
I
make
think
me,
we align quite well.
yeah, yeah. When I would lose a competition, it would make me train so much harder so that that doesn't happen again.
Yeah, so you use it as fuel.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And since this is, after all, a best of Markham podcast, what's your favorite business in Markham besides your own?
Going back to my initial discussion, the monthly man cave meetings, we went to a business in Markham that I was really impressed with. They were really kind, and I really enjoyed the experience. It's called Joyride 150. Have you heard of it?
Is it a spinning studio?
It's a indoor mountain biking facility.
I've driven by there many times, just didn't know what they sell or what they do. Now I know.
I really, I was shocked at how elaborate and complex and fun that experience was. So we went, I think it was 7 or 8 guys, and great night out. Everyone was super nice, couple of massive wipeouts, and really enjoyed it.
Nice, nice. Shout out to Joyride 160. 160 or 150?
Joyride 150.
150. I added 10. And lastly, how can our viewers and listeners get in touch with you?
Yeah, if they want more information about either our team, the clinics, the best way to be go to advancedmedicine.ca. I think is the main clinic website that people use, and then there's a couple of links there you can just click to either book a free 50-minute consult to see if we're right for you, or you can click there and get in contact with one of our staff. Our actual people, not AI, will get back to you, and you can have a warm and conversation and see if we can help you on your journey.
Amazing. And all those contact details will be in the show notes as well. Leigh, thank you so much. I really appreciate this.
My pleasure. It was a real honor to do this and a real honor to meet you, and I learned a lot. Thank you very much, Igor.
My pleasure.